Yo, what is going on, all you GBA fans? It's your boy Aaron2 for 20, joined with Rob.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm back, and well, against the will of the people, I have returned to
Yeah,
do some more subpar analyst work. So I'm sorry.
yeah, I got stuck with Rob. So this week, though, we are going to be covering the playoff preview. Now, this basically we are going to go over what teams are currently in playoffs, what teams are still going to be trying to get into playoffs, and what teams are currently out of playoffs, and then also
All the
showing up the bracket and
the
all that.
necessities.
Yeah, and anything that goes along with that. So if you guys enjoy, make sure to leave a like, comment if you are excited for your team making playoffs, or if you want your team to make playoffs, to try and encourage them. And without further ado, let's begin. So the first thing that we're going to go over are the teams that are out of playoffs. And right now, the only teams that are out of playoffs are from the Sun Conference. We have Tuck, coach of the Pittsburgh Pirates, who can no longer make playoffs.
Yeah, and in the Moon Conference, that would be Steve. Unfortunately, statistically, with only having one win at this point in the season and 3 games being left, he cannot make playoffs. I'm sorry, Steve. Not happening this season.
Well, next up, though, we still have 3 other teams that are currently not in playoffs for the Sun Conference, being Duncan, coach of the Free State Torcats, Lars, coach of the Borussia Donphan, and Dan, coach of the St. Louis Rampardos. For Duncan and Lars, they are both within 1 win of the people that are second in their division, and they're pretty close to making playoffs. It's easier for Lars because of the fact that has 1 more win over Duncan, but they're both still pretty close to playoffs. Whereas for Dan, he 100% would need to win out for the rest of the season if he wants any chance of making playoffs, as between the conference matches and the divisional matches that end off the season, he would not be able to make it unless if he wins out, and even then he would make it as a 4th seed no matter what.
Yeah. All right. So for the Moon Conference, it's a bit different because, in case you don't know, it's the top 4. It's the top team in each division, which is the smaller version of the conferences, and the 2 best teams after that. So technically there can be 3 people who make it in one division and 1 person who makes it in the other, but at least 1 person makes it from each division, if that made any sense. Did that make sense, Aaron?
It made some sense. I kind of got what you're saying, but basically, if Rob didn't explain it well enough,
Yeah.
top from each conference makes it, and in addition to that, the next runner-ups make it no matter what. So let's say Envy and Crimson, and because Crimson is currently 5-4 and Envy is 8-1, so Envy would be top of his division and Crimson's top of his division. Then next up, let's say John and Callum somehow end up being second, because right now John is second overall in their conference, and if Callum ended up being second overall by the end of the season, then it would be those 4 in playoffs instead of having a second person from Crimson's division as well, because only Crimson is guaranteed from his division because of the fact that it's first in each division.
Yeah, it's basically the next 2 best records.
Yeah, hopefully that made sense to you guys. But yeah, that definitely does also impact the Sun Conference as well, because also Lars can end up making it in along with Mono, George, and also Chimpact. So that could also block Gator out of playoffs as well. But Rob, I'll let you finish up what you were saying.
All right, because I do have a way with words. I know.
Great way with words.
So before I continue, I just want to mention that I am a stall player. So, what that has to do with this, I don't know. So let me let me move on to in the Moon Conference, there's actually 1 team that has clinched a playoff spot, no matter 100% statistically, and that is the San Diego Chimchargers and Envy. He could lose the rest of his games 6-0 and still make it into the playoffs. So congratulations to him. However, that kind of, mixes up the rest quite a bit, especially all of it. So I don't know where I was going with that.
Damn it.
But fighting for the last 3 spots are actually every single other team except Steve. San Jose Sharpedos and Alolan Athletic, as bad as it looks for them right now, they both only have 3 wins and 6 losses. They are still technically not out, but they would have to win out the rest of their games, even though it kind of doesn't seem like it because the other 3 teams do have 5 wins. The last 2 games this season will be divisional matches, so both of the two teams from the I haven't played the game yet.
Melee.
Okay, Melee Conference will have 6 wins. So they statistically, Alolan Athletic and San Jose Sharpedos will need to win out in order to make playoffs if they can. If they lose any games, then that's it for them. And of course, Callum, being the Alolan Athletics, have the advantage in that situation just because of the slightly better differential. But for the most part, it's looking like either John, Crimson, Geo, or Stevo will be the make up the last 3 teams in the playoffs. John practically only needs one more win, unless he, you know, those last 2 losses are like catastrophic losses that destroys his differential. John practically only needs 1 more win. You know, we'll be definitely safe with 2 more. And the last 3, the Detroit Steelwings, San Francisco Giants, and Utah Jasmine, they are just all in the mix, and anything can happen in that situation. So, yeah.
Yeah, whereas for the Sun Conference, we currently have the playoffs looking like Chimpact, George, Mono, and Gator. Gator being 5-4, Mono and George both being 6-3, just coming down to differential there, better for George. And also Chimpact being 7-2. Now Chimpact has pretty much clinched playoffs. He would need to lose out, and also Lars would need to win out, which I believe would be pretty hard, at least for him to lose out, especially for the fact that he would also need Gator to do really well, because Gator would need to overthrow him in the division. So Chimpact has realistically clinched playoffs at this point, as it would most likely come down to differential if anything. But anything can still happen there. Obviously, there's still 3 weeks left. But if he wins another game, I believe he clinches playoffs 100%. And speaking of playoffs, it is time to look into the bracket that will be going into playoffs as of right now. So from the Sun Conference, it's going to be Chimpact versus Gator and George versus Mono, because Chimpact is currently in first for their conference and Gator is in last, being 5-4, and Chimpact being 7-2. And then George versus Mono, they're both 6-3 teams. So they would end up fighting each other for second and third.
Yeah. Basically, how the final, you know, playoff bracket will work is the first best record takes on the 4th best record in the conference, and the 2nd best record takes on the 3rd best record in the conference. So as it stands in the Moon Conference, it would end up being, if it finished like this, it would end up being the San Francisco Chimp Chargers, coached by Envy, taking on the San Francisco... Oh, did I say San Francisco twice? I meant San Diego the first time, if I didn't say that. San Francisco Giants, coached by Geo. So, and the other game would end up being the Detroit Steelwings, coached by Crimson, playing the New Orleans Pelipers, coached by John, aka Pokemon.
Yep, and that's currently what playoffs are looking like for GBA Season 7. Now, obviously, a lot can happen. There's still 3 weeks left, and a lot of the matches, especially in the Moon Conference, seem to be really close there. But you guys just need to stay tuned in and check us out next week to keep yourselves updated in terms of playoff preview and anything else GBA related on this channel as well. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment down if you're excited for your team making playoffs, or if you want your team to make playoffs, just make sure to let them know down there. If you're sad because you were a Steve or Top fan this season, you can comment which team you want to win now that your team is out.
Comment with a sad face.
Yeah, you should leave a sad face. We'll know how to find you easier. But that is going to be it for this week. My name is Aaron.
His name is Aaron, and my name...
Damn it, Rob.
Yeah, I don't... My name is Rob, and thank you for watching.
Goodbye.